If you're living in other people's projections over your life, if you don't have a clear vision for who it is you're meant to be, or you want some help, you need to hear something that will clear your mind and knock away the voices of doubt and even inner self-doubt. This episode's for you. Don't watch part of it, watch all of it. And subscribe right now to Inspire Heart with Charles and Yvana Bailey. We're glad you're here because we want to make sure you hear off the top of this episode that you don't have to live by anyone else's projections or perceptions, not just of you, but on you or for you, because your life is unique. And I guarantee you, by the end of this episode, you're going to be inspired. Coach, what's going on?
Hey.
So
I was
good to see you.
thinking, no, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about how in my life I've had that happen, where people have personally projected what they thought my career should look like, what they thought my education should look like, what they thought I should create. And if I didn't defy other people's voices and have the courage to build up my own, I would have lost my vision.
You lost yourself.
Definitely wouldn't have been in my purpose.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So I was listening and I was thinking about that because I don't know if that applies to you, but it definitely applies to me. And the problem with it, I know for a fact, is that, like, you know how many people are living someone else's vision?
Living someone else's dream. Living someone else's purpose struggling the whole time through it.
Full struggle. And it makes me afraid because it makes me not afraid. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because time and time I'm walking even my clients through visualization and they're like, before we even get to that principle, I've never even envisioned
for
myself what my career, my family needs to be like. And I'm like, well, then whose vision you looking at?
Yeah.
Well, my dad always said.
My mom
always said. My grandparents said, don't. And so I'm like, there's a problem here and there's a leak.
Yeah.
There's a leak that needs to be repaired.
You know, the hardest thing is when someone else is happy for the life you have, but you're not happy with the life you live.
We see that all the time. All the time.
Because they're glad that it went the way that they wanted it to go for you.
Yeah.
And then they have to spend the rest of your life, listen carefully, convincing you that you should be glad it worked out the way they wanted. I know I said something for somebody watching already. Like, okay, this is where we are. This is where we at. This is what we're on today.
Yeah,
you know, because I want to make sure that I stress in our book, The Flight of Your Life, which if you hadn't picked it up, we're telling you like we always tell you, get it.
Yes.
Because it is changing minds and changing hearts and changing lives. Yeah. Even if there's something in it that you already know, the way we try our best to put it into play is going to be a different way and framework for you so that you can then activate it.
That's right.
So many people are living other people's destinies. And they can't understand why, even though they have all the trimmings of success and things seem to be working, they don't feel like it's worth it anymore.
Come on. That's so real. Like, I just think about the people that have endorsed our book. I mean, the supporters of our book. And thank you. If you have received a copy, we bless you. We thank you so much. And pass it forward. Share it. Spread the word. But even in the book, there are people that have the outer experience, outer trimmings, I should say. Like, we know Christmas is coming up by the end of the quarter, but they have the outer decor of success, but are living a fraudulent lifestyle. They are at home with closet confidence, but wounded because they can't figure out how to get out of someone else's vision, perspective. And that shadow of doubt leads to despair.
Of course.
And I found that the more I challenge others' voices, if I feel like it doesn't align with me, my mission, what God told me to do, I'm not doing it.
Absolutely.
I have been very rebellious. And I'll say it again. I have been very rebellious when it comes to the point where someone put a shadow over what I thought I was supposed to do in life because of their perspective and what they wanted to vicariously live through me.
Yeah.
I cut the tongue mentally out of that person, because whatever you ruminate over, whatever you even allow to speak over you, you will become.
Sure.
That's just real.
Yes.
Right? So what I said was, if I've got to become this in my life, I have to make sure I protect that vision and I protect those seeds. And if there is an intruder, I need to be alerted in my mind, in my spirit, and my soul, that does not align with who God called me to be and what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't align, you got to be exited out of my life, out of my mindset, out of my atmosphere. Some people are like, well, it's okay. I just listen to it. Or my mom just preaches all the time. Or my father says this. Or my boss says this.
Because it's
or
not
my
just
coach
family.
says this.
That's right.
And, you know, maybe you won't make the team. Maybe all these different things that could be spoken over your life.
You're not good enough.
And they're like, well, I tune them out. But do you?
No,
because we're all antennas, right? You talk about frequency, vibrations, all that stuff. But even in the deeper scientific aspect of it that you definitely know, we are antennas.
Absolutely.
So whatever your message is still is coming into my system.
The central
and then
the
central nervous system, and I might be broadcasting an image later in life that is not what I'm supposed to be living. And that's where we're going to speak from today.
Yeah, we're already speaking.
We're
just keeping it real. I mean, we hadn't stopped.
We ain't stopped.
Somebody on the other side of this camera or the radio, like, hey, man, or not radio, but, well, maybe, because they may be listening to their car.
On the radio, y'all.
Well, if they listen to the podcast, just so you know, again, we're streaming everywhere. But straight up, so many people are living a projection.
Come on.
You have, man, this word, there are so many buzzwords in the world right now, no matter what you might hear. But one has kind of been consistent, and it's projections.
Yeah.
People will project onto you their image and vision of you that they feel best, or I'm going to say this because it's true, that best serves their vision of their life with you in it. Now watch. What happens is, as if we are actors, we work in the arts, there's someone who writes, there's someone who produces, but there's someone who directs, and they have a vision.
That's right.
And they will cast the vision to the people who are supposed to live that vision out.
Come on.
And sometimes what happens is just like that scenario, there are people in our lives that will cast vision that we don't agree with.
Yeah.
But because we are in their narrative, we will then take their vision and live it out because it's our gift to.
Yeah.
We are gifted to live out visions. The problem is that you also have the authority to write your own narratives, to do your own research, to find your own character, because you are literally, despite what anyone says, still the main character in your story.
CEO of YOU. That's in our book.
Absolutely.
The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion. Here's another thing. It just hit me. There are people that secretly spoke against the system in someone's life for fear of, watch this. You have, let me take it back a little bit. You have parents that will speak, you need to get a 9-to-5. You need to get a 9-to-5. You need to have stable income. You need to go get an education. Not everybody's meant for that. I know multiple millionaires and billionaires and thousandaires that have been at a level of saying, I drop out of school. I'm not saying that if whatever fits in your life, you do it. You know. In your core, you know what you need to do. But there are multiple people and individuals that have been serving someone else's vision because it fits the structure of the system of their family, the system of their culture, right? So it hit me. You know how many people sit there at night and they're like, they have these dreams, they have these visions, but they don't have the courage or bravery to even approach it. They sit there wishing, and also too, they start saying, well, if I can't have it, let me watch someone else's life that has it. And so all of a sudden they wonder why they're so jealous. They wonder why they can't look at Instagram and be not envious. They wonder why there's no peace in their heart. There's no peace in their life because you're constantly looking at someone else's projection, right? Or believing that projection, and you're aspiring not higher, you're aspiring at this medial level in life, and you're not achieving what God called you to achieve. You're not even at the point of achieving because you're constantly stuck in the fog of projection in someone else's life. Projectors, I take this visually. If I have a projector and I have a screen or a wall and I want to watch a movie, I put the thing in the projector and it casts the vision of what I want to see. In my life, I have had people say, you need to do this and you need to be stable in this because of this to make them look better, to make them proud.
Yeah.
I'm doing this to make my people proud. I'm doing this.
Yeah. Don't
I
forget
don't
where you
care.
came from.
No, sometimes you need to forget where you came from.
Sometimes that's actually what God is trying to do.
Sometimes you need to forget where you came from, right?
Yeah.
So that you can get to a moment where it's like, I'm creating this from my life. And so no matter where I came from, yeah, I respect where I came from, of course. But I also am saying this, where I'm going is far better than where I came from. And I'm not going to forget it. But what I am going to do is protect what I see in the vision to come.
But the reality of it is this is also a journey.
All
and
of it
so
is a journey.
You have to recognize that on this journey,
Yeah.
let's just be honest, even for those who aren't aware of the scripture, there are countless examples where God himself told people to get up and leave everything and everyone you know. And watch this.
I'm watching.
They would ask, where am I going? He said, I will tell you.
When you get there.
Essentially speaking, he said, you just keep walking in the way.
Voice. That's right.
You just keep walking the way, and I will tell you whether to go to the left or the right.
Come on.
You'll hear a voice behind you,
Come on.
which means you have no clear understanding where you're headed, if this is even the right path, but you know you're trusting what's on the inside of you and who is giving you the courage to walk outside of everyone else's projection for your life. It may not look safe.
Yeah.
But when has walking with God, when has ever in any historic moment wanting to seize another country, another land, where in any of our knowledge has it ever been safe to proceed when you're going for your dream?
It is unsafe.
Which is what they're really saying.
Yeah.
I would feel better about if you did this way, because at least I can in some way have some control or have the ability to influence or be close enough in case you need. Now, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But if you're really full of faith, what you'll say is I've given you the best I can. Come on, coach. I've given you the best I can, mentor. I've given you the best I could, mom, dad. I've given you all I could, but I have to trust God with you, just like my parents had to trust God with me.
That's right.
So live your adventure and know that I'm here for you.
That's right.
And I'm praying for you. And whatever you are led to do, I believe because of who you are, that I can trust that you're following it with all that's in you, and you will get there.
That's right.
Even if it means going through some hard and dark places, that's the path for you. And in our book, we talk about trailblazing. I know you have a thought, so I want to make sure you don't forget it. Please don't let it go. But when has it ever been easy to cut a path through uncharted territory?
Look at all the leaders.
I'll repeat it one more time so anyone who needs to hear this and write it down. When has it ever been easy to cut a path through uncharted territory?
Yeah.
The visual should be strong enough for you to understand. You may not, there is no place you're going to. You don't know because no one's ever been there.
Right. Right.
You're cutting your way through and it hurts and it's hard and you got to deal with everything that's there that you didn't know existed.
That's just truth. That's valid. That's affirming someone that needs to understand that if you want to lead, stop following. That's just so simple.
Yeah.
Stop following the voice that limits you. Stop following the mindset that controls you. Stop following the one that just wants to lord over you with their opinions of your life. Get away from that and just lead. Lead yourself. Through victory, through trial, through tribulation, through valleys even. There's so many times where I look at, stories and I'm just like, man, that person went through all this persecution, all of this pain. What's my favorite, with the movie with the soldier that went overseas and went through chastisement and pain.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah,
I reference that a lot because it cuts deep.
Yeah.
There are silent warriors that are still losing in life because they're afraid to step out on faith. Silent warriors afraid to step out on faith because all they see is someone else's vision. All they see is, my mom always said, my dad always said, my teacher never affirmed me, so I won't be. But those ones are so blessed, the ones that step out on faith and leadership. the ones that walk with an anointing of understanding they're different. I know I'm different.
Yeah.
You ain't got to tell me I'm different. I know that I was born different. But when I'm cut from a different tapestry, a different cloth, I'm not meant to fit everyone's blanket.
Boy, you're not
I
meant to fit
can't.
everyone's blanket.
I
Like it's just-
cannot.
You're just, no one's made to fit into everyone else's narrative.
But if you're not careful, that's exactly what you'll end
try
up
to do.
doing.
Try to do.
Well, some people end up doing it.
Yeah.
And then they're miserable trying to figure out like, oh man, I feel like I haven't achieved anything. I feel like I missed it. My calling. I feel like I don't
just
know.
Didn't try.
No, but you could still try. You're still alive.
Yeah.
You could still try and do better.
To do, yeah.
And sometimes we have to talk this sternly because we're tired of seeing so many warriors within feeling like they're chained and shackled and enslaved to someone else's mindset, someone else's doubts or fears. Because sometimes some people have spoken the opposite thing that I knew I was supposed to do.
And that's
because they were afraid.
Yeah.
Because they were hesitant and never accomplished anything
me,
in their life.
If it were me, I would.
So go and do it then. Because this is me and this is my life.
But
right?
I'm saying the opposite of what you said is like they also have that fear because in their brains, they're putting themselves in your story. So if it were them, they were like, I can't try this. But what they're really saying is I never dared to
Thank
try.
you. I never had the courage to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I never had the courage to maybe, get a master's and do something different. You know how many people are in education right now and not serving what they actually studied?
I talk about that often. And I often say you can still do it. But you got to be responsible with your choices and know that you got to live in the big letters. But I'll talk about that in a minute because I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Sure.
Do you. But make sure while you do you still have a vision for your life.
And that's what
Don't just go around being tossed about by idea and maybe I should try this, maybe I should try this. We know so many people that are literally masters of nothing and traded all their skills and all this time to aspire higher, but really they're just stuck. They're just in positions in the mud where they can't get out. And so I say, take a moment, sit down and write it out or talk it out. I have walked so many clients and women and people through moments to where they just need to take a moment and visualize. What do I want for my life? What do I need for my life? What can I make happen right now in my life? And what are the words that I've heard that have casted a vision of what I don't want for my life? And how am I going to move from that into exactly the moment where I have to see myself higher than I've ever saw it? And I've got to write down steps on how I'm going to do it. And I've got to write down the consequence if I don't do it. And I got to write down the reward. If I do it.
Reward yourself. And
this is what coaching's all about. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Because I don't just tell people, oh, you're going to do better. I believe
make
in
you feel good and hang up.
Here are the steps. Here's how I'm going to run with you. Here's how I'm going to walk out this life with you. And here's how I'm going to race to the finish line before you even get there. So you know you have a coach and support. And then I'm going to have the water. I'm going to have some water fresh for you.
We ain't sponsored by them yet.
LaCroix, sponsorship? I see it. Look at the colors.
Well, you're saying it and they're still not sending us $1 for that. Put that thing down.
Faith. But here's the hydration so that when you get tired and you want to quit in life, you still have someone that believes in you, that can sow seeds of faith in you and still water you in the seasons where you feel dry. That is vital when you have to look at envisioning higher and aspiring higher with these type of principles.
Man, no, that's incredible. And I think it's ultra important that you said what you said because it's not just enough to try a whole bunch of things because some people are trying a bunch of things because they don't have a vision, right? Like you said.
Course.
But also adding to what you said, the vision has been disturbed because they have so many other people's version of their vision for them.
Thank you.
So I also want to say that for some of you that you may feel stuck, but you're not stuck because you don't have something on the inside of you that you know you need to pursue. It could just be that you have too many messages or you're allowing too many messages into your ears and into your head, into your heart that are stopping you when you get that inspiration or that unction to try this thing. I love hearing Mark Cuban talk about it often. He said you only have to be right once.
That's so
it's not that you're trying too many things. Some of it is that you haven't tried a thing long enough. It's okay if it fails.
Longevity.
You look at some of the wealthiest people in the world,
Failure.
all of them. That's what they all preach it. If you knew how many businesses I lost on the way to this first 100,000, first million, first billion, they failed their way forward.
That's right. Come on.
What
Failing forward.
most people aren't doing is
Yeah.
failing with intention.
Come on.
I have tried things that didn't work on purpose, but I knew that it was going to give me a skill that would move the next thing I tried forward.
Yeah.
I can honestly tell you that.
Yeah.
I've taught myself things that some people went to school to do for years, but I
Yeah.
knew that if I went this way,
Come
I
on.
would have it forever.
That's right.
Even if a 9 to 5 ended up having to be the path I would take,
Some
guess
people
what?
have to-
I'm
yeah.
better prepared as a leader because I took the risk.
Mm-hmm.
So then I am also worthy of the pay that comes with the one who can say I have a vision because I've spent years crafting one and I can lead you forward.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure I stress that because you're not lost necessarily. You may need someone like Coach Ivana or like myself to say, let's hone it in on these two things and work them. And if it's not the way, what did we learn? What can we take from it to add to the next step?
That's right.
Because once you hit, you'll hit.
Every time.
But you have to keep moving forward.
You have to.
But you know one thing, Coach, I want to make sure I talk about, I hope you're still with us, because some people also, because of all the mixed signals and visions they get and the projections that are put on them, they don't have a clear statement for their life.
Mm.
So if you think about businesses, if I were to ask you
Mission
right
statement,
now,
right.
no, I'm gonna make it even
Okay.
shorter. If I asked you right now, give me the brand associated with this.
Okay.
If I said, you're loving it, I said the wrong phrase. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That's even better.
like,
That's good because they're like, well, we're definitely not going to be sponsoring them. You understand what I'm saying? If I said ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it.
Okay.
What brand is that, honestly?
You got me so confused. I don't know.
I'm loving it. McDonald's. If I
don't eat it. So
it's like just
I
about
knew it,
messed-
but it's the
Nope,
way
that's what
you
we
didn't even
always
sing
do.
it in the
I
right
knew it.
tone. What was that? Ew. You want me to sing it? I'll sing it.
All right, Aretha.
What was that? Ew.
This is hilarious. All right, but seriously, if
Yeah.
I said that, if I said just do it, sincerely,
Nike.
right? But the point I'm making is there's a short phrase that defines who they are,
Right.
but it also defines who they're not.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes in life, that's what we need to do because
Yeah,
we've heard
come
people
on.
say, you're not good enough.
Right.
So we use that slogan and we live that out as our brand.
Come on.
And then we create an image around that brand. It becomes our brand image.
Mm.
And then we live that image so clearly that it becomes our reputation.
Yep.
And then we wonder why things aren't working.
Yep.
We need to sit down, and I'm challenging you right now, if you've never heard this before, you need to write 5 words or less that really defines who you are,
Love
where you
that.
want to go, what you want to be.
Love it.
So that when someone says anything that doesn't match that, you can say, as the CEO of YLU, as we've already talked about, it's another episode you need to go check out,
Mhm.
you don't have to accept that
No. You reject it.
because it's not my brand. It's not my image.
Branding is everything.
It's not my projection.
Come on. Come on. So how would you best project? You take the 5 words or you take 3 words that become your life, your branding statement, right? How do you protect that?
You just say it over and over again and you just walk that out. I think it's as simple as that.
So repetition
You have to continually live it.
can allow you to function forward. It can allow you to filter within, and it can also allow you to build your faith,
That's what it is.
your core belief, your conviction in who you are.
Because faith only comes by one way.
There are people that have been requesting to be on
Hearing.
this show. No, you're not going to be on the show. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because we have a mission, we have
That's
a
right.
statement, and we have a brand.
Mhm.
If you don't align with those things, it's a no for me,
It's a
right?
no.
Okay. So there's people, right? There's companies, there's businesses
Mm.
that have a vision and a mission and a statement.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't align, most times it's a no.
It's
I don't
a
care how
no.
much you want to flex your
That's
money.
what it's there
It's
for.
a no for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's another thing. Being in the public eye as public
Sure.
figures can be very tricky because we have brand specialists, you have branding, you have all these things to protect your image
Sure.
and to make sure the right message is coming across. What happens when you start looking at someone else that might be more successful in the same sphere?
Mhm.
What happens when you start looking at their
I got a story
quote
for
unquote,
that.
Go ahead.
No, keep saying what
No,
you're
just
gonna
go
say.
ahead.
Well, there was research that was done. It was an experiment, actually.
Okay.
And it was a survey.
Mhm.
I think it was Hemingway and Sorkin or something like that. I just remember hearing
Okay.
this story. But if I got it wrong, by all means, drop in the comments just for
Mhm.
me because it's conversational, right?
Mhm.
But they surveyed hundreds of employees. And they said, you have 2 options. Option A is, would you rather be paid $100,000 a year, guaranteed, guaranteed $100,000 per year, but you knew that everyone else at your job, all of your peers, all made $200,000 per year?
Got it.
Or would you rather accept $50,000 per year, guaranteed, it's 50 grand, knowing that all of your peers, every employee in the company only made $25,000 per year?
Okay.
What do you think, honestly, was the choice that people made?
The one that allowed them to make the most because they didn't want, no?
No.
Because that's how I think.
But that's the problem. More than half of the people that were surveyed said they would rather make less, knowing that the people around them were doing worse than they were.
Wow,
and
so
that's
messed up,
the answer to your question. Because what happens is, and the reason why some of us aren't living our lives fully, and I'm not talking about circumstantially happy, because there are circumstances that impact us, is because we have compared ourselves to what other people are supposedly doing, or someone has told us this is what they do. You know, this person makes X amount of dollars they do this. And you miss the point that your worth is not found
or predicated
in
on
anyone else's worth.
Right. My answer was what you said? Look, that was wrong?
You thought that most people would choose to be paid higher even though other people made more than them. But they would rather be paid less knowing that everyone else had less than them.
Got it.
And that's the trap.
Got you. That's real. That was a study you said?
That was a study.
Yeah, that's
real.
real.
It's been done multiple times, but Solnick, I said Solnich.
That's real.
Solnick and
That's
Hemingway.
real.
Yeah.
I think, personally, we've talked about this in numerous episodes. The thief of joy comparison, comparison. The culture we all live in is really about comparison.
It's really projection, though.
It's projection with comparison.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that if you're not careful, it will rob you of what you are entitled to. If I'm entitled to my brand, if I'm entitled to my account, I'm entitled to my income, I've got to work for what I'm entitled to and my vision. If somebody comes up and says, well, this person makes more than you and this person can do this, well, good for that person. I'm always a firm believer and I applaud that person. Yeah. As a matter of fact, let me sit down with that person so I could eat at their table and learn some things.
Sure.
That's humility. But when you start allowing the thief to rob you of a moment where you can just say, this is what I want to do with my life. I don't care if 800 million people are better at it, or if 800 million people make more than me.
Sure.
I am content because I'm moving the needle forward.
For me.
I'm doing it for me. I'm becoming a legend for my history, my culture, my ancestry, and I'm content with that.
Sure.
I'm content with that.
Yeah, man.
Somebody approached me recently and was like, you can make a lot of money as an influencer. I'm like, yeah, I have my own journey. That's not where I want to put all my energy at all. Well, I know this woman and she makes this amount per week. And I was like, we all know that's a good amount.
Right.
Okay. Go, girl. Go, girl.
No doubt.
Did I go on her page and start scrolling endlessly and starting to become insecure because I didn't have that? Or I was like, you know what, I could do that better. No. Mm-hmm. I never even looked.
Living someone else's destiny.
I never even looked because for me, I would rather applaud her, support her with celebrate her and honor the fact that woman is taking images, taking pictures and content and making a life of her own with that and creating a story and being paid beyond what her parents are being paid. That's a blessing. Now, let me just focus on making a better Instagram bio. Let me just focus on making one reel post a week because for me, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
I don't care about what someone else is making in that aspect because that could clout the vision of, okay, I need to create that course. I need to make sure this is in line. I need to make sure that book, all this matters on that end. So if I shift my perspective to look at her.
Man.
Do I even have to finish?
Well, that's a very powerful thing is because, again, the reason why I said earlier is that life is really just a bunch of projections because that's what social media is. They're projecting a life to you. And then what happens is we who are insecure in our own walk or faith for that matter will take their projections and ask ourselves, why won't my life look like
that?
Theirs?
Come on.
Because that's what we're really saying.
Oh, man.
Why is my life not like theirs? Now watch. In our last episode, if you haven't watched it, we talked a lot about this, because what you see on the front side is not always what's going on the back side.
Are you kidding?
Because there are documentary after documentary after documentary of people who have trapped themselves in the social media cycle.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I'm going to say it, I dare say it, there are spirits that are attached to that, because some people have trapped themselves in a life that they didn't even want for themselves.
Yeah.
Because now their whole life depends on them living and projecting
100%.
the character
100%.
that is not truly who they are.
There have been famous people, even within this construct of where we are right now in Orlando.
Yeah.
Celebrities, famous people on podcasts, their life sucks.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's just be real about it. They're broken. They're dejected. They're alone.
Every day. No one wants to be around you if every time we go eat, all you want to do is make
Take
some
pictures.
stupid content. I want to enjoy this meal with you.
Ma'am, and a lot of people don't even know how to function without it.
Because
there's a lot of people that don't know how to function. Let me go even bigger. Without fame, without fortune, without even feeling like they have to be filmed all the time to be credible. They need to be in front all the time to be relative. I don't like it, because it's not a full story and it's not a full picture.
Sure.
So I try to limit, and maybe you need that. Like I used to do that with my clients all the time. How much time do we spend on Instagram?
Sure.
Show me
Or
right
social,
now. Show me the
yeah.
insights right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's more than you can even read a book.
Right.
That's more than you can focus on your business.
Development.
Close the app, put restrictions on it, and let's move our life forward.
Yeah.
Because me looking at other people's lives is not moving my life forward.
Yeah.
Unless I have a vision and a strategy of like, okay, it inspires me.
There's a difference.
Cool. But if you're doing it to compare or to just be engulfed to escape your own pain in life, you lost.
Yeah.
We're here to empower you on how to win. We're here to empower you on how to stop looking at the projections that have been placed in your life as the reality, because it's not. It's still a projection.
Yeah.
And for you to be the filmmaker, for you to be the producer and the writer for your own life, take your power back. Your life is waiting on you. And if you're stuck, that's when you get the support, get the book, get the coach, get the podcast, get something to move your intentions forward, to move that vision that was cloudy into the sky and make it as plain as a rainbow, as vivid as it can be. And then start saying, what are my 3 to 5 words that are going to be my statement for life?
That will center you.
That will ground me.
Yeah.
I go through grounding principles with my clients, and I love it because it takes a moment, but it shows the complexities of life. Right? If you're travailing up through a mountain, you're going to have maybe broken trees, or maybe a snake might bite you, or you get poison ivy, or maybe there's just a moment where you don't know which path to take. Within those moments, I teach them on how to be guided through breath work, how to be guided through an understanding of you've accomplished this at this base of the mountain. Maybe just take a pause, rest there, and know that that vision, that climactic park will get there. But all you need to know in that moment, did I take the necessary steps to even move forward? That's number one. And then number 2, when you finally make it to the mountaintop, are you exhausted? Are you looking at it like I've accomplished so much, now on to the next thing? Or are you taking a brief moment to say, I've accomplished all that I could, and I'm satisfied and content in this season. And it's okay for me to just sit there. It's okay for me to just be like, you know what? I've done a lot. And I'm so proud of myself. I've done more than my family did. I've done more than other people, not comparing, but stating the facts.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm so honored that I put my vision forward before other people's.
That's more gratitude than attitude. Yeah. That's gratitude, because you're not saying with an attitude, I did better than them.
Gratitude.
No, look at what I'm doing. Look at what God is doing through me.
Look at that. And so when you get to the top part, some people don't even have a vision of what the top of their mountain will look like.
Right.
Start
projecting
Start
now.
today. Start projecting now, because that's your power. There's power in projection. But watch the outside, filter out all that noise, and start to hone in on what is it that you can empower yourself with as you project for your life.
Yeah, man. Very good. That's awesome. Would you like to talk about the impact and influence, or you feel good leaving it there?
I'm good.
All right, cool. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Aspire Higher with Charles and Yvana Bailey. We want to encourage you to get our book, The Flight of Your Life. We want to encourage you, if you love hearing our voice, please share it. We are motivational and inspirational speakers. You can see by all the episodes we have, and we hope that you'll go back and watch many of them. We can talk on many topics, but we do have signature topics as well. So we can bring that energy to your team.
Yeah.
We can bring it to your leadership team, or maybe just your staff that might need encouragement to understand that there's a bigger vision. Because if you're a part of a company or a team, there is a projection that we all need to be partnering in.
Right.
And sometimes what happens is we'll come in with our own vision for the collective entity, and that's totally different. That's not right.
Right.
But you do need to be, if you're a person that's listening, challenged enough to have a personal vision for yourself. Play the part that you have to play where you are, but know that that is playing a part ultimately in your story that you're writing. We hope that you will like, subscribe. Thank you again for joining us on Aspire Higher with Charles and Yvana Bailey.